Hey guys, today I've got a lot to go through with this Rust shooting incident. I want to show you guys how it's all about a ritual to Venus, Mars, and Chernobyl. And in the Ukrainian, Chernobyl translates to wormwood. And on the day of this shooting, that's when Halyna Hutchins died. And she's from the Ukraine. This whole ritual centers around Venus, Mars, and Halyna Hutchins. And Ukraine, the home of the Chernobyl incident, aka Wormwood. And I'll show you how all these rituals kind of work together and how they connect to 9/11, the golden ratio, and basically everything I've been talking about for quite a while now. Okay, so let's take a look at the symbolism here with Mars. The shooting incident happened on the movie set of the movie called Rust. And Mars, of course, is the red planet. And it refers to the effect of iron oxide, which is prevalent on Mars' surface. Iron oxide is rust. And I've covered this before, but Mars has a synodic period, this maximum synodic period of 811 days. And that's what my channel is all about. Revelation 8:11, the Wormwood event. Artemisia absinthium is wormwood. It's an anti-parasite. And in Revelation 8:11, it's a star that falls from the sky and poisons a third of mankind. So if we look at the symbolism for Mars, it also connects to the Eiffel Tower. And I've showed you guys this before, but if we look at the most famous place or the most famous pictures of the Eiffel Tower, it's from the Jardin de Mars. And the Eiffel Tower is also known as the Iron Lady. And this elemental symbol for iron is Fe. And we had Halyna Hutchins. She died in Santa Fe, near Santa Fe, New Mexico, with the Fe. But the other connection here with the Eiffel Tower is that the Eiffel Tower is the iota, the alpha, and the omega stacked on top of one another. And in the Greek isopsephy, the iota has a value of 10, alpha a value of 1, and omega a value of 800, for a total of 811. 811 days in a maximum Mars synodic period. Mars, the alchemical metal of Mars is iron. And the other connection here to Bonanza City and Chernobyl. Bonanza City, where the shooting occurred, the accidental shooting occurred on the movie set of Rust. Bonanza City is a ghost town 13 miles southwest of Santa Fe. There's your Fe again. And Pripyat, Ukraine, is a ghost city in northern Ukraine. And it was founded on February 4th, 1970 to serve the nearby Chernobyl nuclear power plant. And it was interesting, it was officially proclaimed a city in 1979. And that just happened to be the year that Halyna Hutchins was born. And she currently lives in Ukraine, or lived in Ukraine. Now we talk about Venus as well, because this connects to Venus and the golden ratio. We're told that Venus has the most volcanoes and volcanic activity of any planet in the solar system. And Halyna Hutchins, she was born on April 10th, 1979. And her connection to Mars and Revelation. She was born 404 days after Mars came out of retrograde. Mars came out of a retrograde on March 2nd, 1978. March, of course, is the month of Mars. 1978 came out of retrograde, returned to standard motion. 404 total verses in Revelation. Now if we go from her birthday, and I'll show you where I got her birthday from here in a second, but April 10th, 1979 to 5/18/1980. It's also 404 days. This is 404 days after she was born. May 18th, 1980. This happened to be the day that Mount St. Helens erupted. May 18th, 1980, for our connection to Venus. And I'll show you real quick a little bit of etymology about her name and how it's connected to Venus, and where I got the Mount St. Helens connection to. Halyna sounds a lot like Helen, and if we look at the etymology of Helen, it means light or bright, and of course Venus is known as the bright morning star. And Halyna has a sister named Svetlana. Her name also means light or pure. And if we actually look at the Russian etymology of Halyna, it means serenity or calm seas. Galena or Galene is the goddess of calm seas. But there's definitely a Helen and Halyna connection here with her name as well, with Venus. And if we look at the day she died, if we look at the planet Venus, Venus was in the constellation of Scorpio, which is the house of death, the 8th house. And it moved from Scorpio to Ophiuchus on the day she died. Ophiuchus is the 13th, the unofficial 13th constellation, the Serpent Bearer. And she died 13 miles away from Santa Fe. The Fe, the iron. And if we look at the day she was born, Venus was in Aquarius. Aquarius is the 11th house. She was born in the 11th house. And the day she died, her Venus was in the 8th house, the house of death. Kind of like a 118, a reverse of 811. Another connection to Venus here in the golden ratio. If I would have been more on my game, I could have maybe picked this date out, October 21st, 2021. I did a video about the pentagram, the Venus pentagram point on June 3rd, 2020. I did that back in June 2nd of 2020. There was a Venus pentagram point in between the horns of the bull on June 3rd, 2020. That just happened to be during the 978th week after 9/11. On a clock, 978 minutes is the time of 1618. And if we take a look at Revelation, Revelation 9:11 is the 154th verse of Revelation. It splits the book of Revelation into the close approximation of phi, or the golden ratio. But Halyna Hutchins died 16 months, 18 days after the last Venus pentagram point. And it's the 13:8 Venus-Earth orbit ratio that forms the pentagram of Venus. And the pentagram, the intersecting lines of the pentagram, form the golden ratio. But 16 months, 18 days after a pentagram point, and it just happened to be the anniversary, the 251st anniversary of the Revelation 12 sign that I've covered before. Revelation 12 sign, also in between the horns of the bull. I'll have to leave a link here, but I got this information off this website here about Halyna's birthday. She has a sister named Svetlana, and her sister's talking about Halyna here. She was born on the 10th of April, 1979. And her sister, Svetlana, lives in Indonesia. And there's another Venus earthquake connection here. Svetlana, etymology means light or pure. Venus, the Venus connection here with volcanoes is that on Halyna's last birthday, April 10th, 2021, Anak Krakatau in Indonesia erupted. And there was also another eruption, I believe, in St. Vincent that day. A third eruption in St. Vincent on April 10th, 2021. So on her birthday, there was 2 volcano eruptions. Krakatau in Indonesia, where her sister lives. It's kind of interesting, too, that her sister thinks, if you read this little article here, her sister thinks, she also talked about the incident being a setup, believes in God and the investigators. There's Halyna's birthday, April 10th, 1979 to May 18th, 1980, Mount St. Helens eruption, 404 days. Now it's the 13:8 Venus-Earth ratio that gives us the pentagram of Venus. So what I did was I added 138 days to the date of her death, and that gets us to March 8th, 2022. And this is a date or calculation I've been kind of sitting on for a while here. But it connects to 9/11. Remember, 9/11 splits the book of Revelation into the golden ratio, or the closest approximation anyway. But if we take the 9th Fibonacci number divided by the 11th Fibonacci number, which is 34 divided by 89, you get 0.3820224719, 101124. But if you take a look at the first part here, this 3/8/2022 looks a lot like a date. Same as 3/8/2022, 138 days after the death of Halyna. Very interesting date. If we look at the year 2022, is also 4719 on the Chinese calendar. It's going to be during a water tiger year. We're talking a lot about the year of the tiger. Chinese year 4719 will be during 3/8/2022. Just like if you take the 9th divided by the 11th Fibonacci, 3/8/2022, 4719. Now here's what I think is the major part of the ritual for Halyna Hutchins here. And I've been covering this a lot lately. The United States and the founding of the United States and the 2 types of citizenships. If you're born here. But Halyna became a U.S. citizen on April 18th, 2017. Bobby Simpson had found that for me on Halyna Hutchins' husband's Facebook page. but Halyna became a U.S. citizen on April 18th, 2017, and she died 1,647 days later. Now if we take the reverse, or the mirror of this number, 1647, it's 7461. And if you look at the 7,461st day after 9/11, that's 2/13/2022. And that's another date I've been kind of sitting on, or I think I maybe have talked about it before, but February 13th, 2022 is 13,077 days after the Chernobyl meltdown. And the ordinal gematria value of Revelation 8:11 is 1377. Halyna is from Kiev, and this is the official flag of the city of Kiev in Ukraine. It's the Archangel Michael. And this is the coat of arms for Pripyat. The atom. Both Bonanza City and Pripyat are ghost towns or ghost cities. Now this is on Halyna's Facebook page, Arch Enemy. In relation to citizenship and the two colors here, if you're a U.S. citizen, that would be an arch enemy to your natural American citizenship, your American national citizenship, your state citizenship. One is the public citizen slave, which is represented by the blue, and your private American Union state citizenship would be red, just like the Matrix. Blue is the Matrix, the commercial world, the beast system. Red is private, the living man, the natural world, the red and the blue. And I've talked a lot about this date, 12/22/2021, as being a start date of World War III. And my thoughts on this date have kind of changed. I think we're going to get maybe on the 20th or 21st. There's going to be some interesting news about the vaccine. I think that's going to be what's happening around this date of 12/22/2021. What's interesting that kind of connects to the movie Rust here with this 12/22 is that the cinematography of the movie Rust began on 10/6/2021, and that just happened to be the first day of lunation, 12/22. Filming began on October 6th, and Halyna was the cinematographer, so she's in charge of filming. So it began on 12/22, lunation 12/22. We have 12/22 coming up. "62 days, 8 weeks, 6 days." It's kind of interesting. The 86. Halyna Hutchins put this as her profile picture on August 6, 2020. So another date I wanted to look at with this ritual is 5/20/2022, and that's 211 days after Halyna's death, and 211 is the 47th prime number. And New Mexico is the 47th state. It's kind of interesting too, New Mexico has the flag with the sun on it. Talked a lot about the sun and how it's related to Revelation 9:11. volume of the sun is given to us as 1.41 times 10 to the 18th cubic kilometers. The exact reverse, 811, the 141st verse of Revelation. 811, the 141st prime number. That's the volume of the sun that we're told. And that's what's on the New Mexico flag, is the sun. And it's a tribute to New Mexico's Native American history. It's kind of a double meaning, Native American. I'll get to that in a minute here. But back to this 5/22 date. 5/20/2022 is 211 days after Halyna's death, the 47th prime, New Mexico, the 47th state. But since we're talking about Mars here, I'm going to show you the Darien calendar, or the Mars calendar. If you look at 9/11/2001, on the Mars calendar, it was the year 208, and it was the month and day Leo 11, the 456th day. And if we go to 2022, May 20th, 2022, it'll be the 11th anniversary of 9/11 on the Mars calendar. The 1/1, the Twin Towers. Very interesting day. What's also interesting about this day, 5/20/2022, is that it's 618 days after the last Mars retrograde. 618, the golden ratio. The last time Mars went into retrograde was September 9th, 2020. And Halyna was born 404 days after Mars came out of retrograde. So there's kind of a retrograde connection here. Another thing that's interesting, it's 777 days after the Venus-Pleiades conjunction. Venus-Pleiades conjunction, did a lot of work with that. 777 days. .320 or 5/20/2022, the 11-year anniversary of 9/11 on the Martian or Darien calendar. Got the symbolism here with the red and blue pill. Ghost cities. Okay, I think I'm going to cut it off here. I have all the information and slides for my next video I'll put together already. Hopefully I'll get that information and those videos out to you within a week or so. And thanks for watching.